A spiritual awakening journey can typically be broken down into 5 different phases. First, it begins with the wake up call. This is that initial event or a realization that spurs you into a crisis of identity. This phase is marked by a sense of longing or an inner pull towards something greater. Usually, it comes with a great feeling of dissatisfaction or a major crisis. It can result in a near death experience or a loss of a loved one or something major in your life. Usually, you have to confront and dismantle old belief systems, ego structures, and attachments during this particular phase of your journey. This phase is oftentimes accompanied by great emotional turmoil, confusion, and also a sense of being lost. The next phase is the self discovery or exploration phase. This is the time when you're exploring new philosophies, spiritual practices, beliefs, and teachings. You're not necessarily happy, you're just trying to figure it all out in this particular phase. Your curiosity tends to run wild because you're questioning everything that you used to believe and you're trying to now figure out what the truth is. So you'll typically do a lot of learning and experimentation during this particular phase. That's when you'll start to practice new belief systems that you learn about, or at least explore them more so from a practical perspective instead of just reading about them. Usually, this phase is marked by a great deal of frustration and confusion because you're trying to fit everything together and figure everything out. The next phase is the struggle phase, or the dark night of the soul, as many term it. This phase is marked by feelings of disconnectedness and loss. Typically, you're going to go through a number of different emotional upheavals because of the things that you're going through. You have to let go of egocentric desires and attachments. You have to embrace the new. You have to embrace your higher self. And in order to do so, you start to question, you start to doubt yourself. Now you have to figure out your path. So you have to do that deep level self reflection, that healing, that shadow work, whereby you're confronting those inner wounds, your fears, any type of limiting beliefs that you dealt with in the past. You also have to deal with any types of regrets, shame, or guilt for the things that you allowed to happen to yourself and also for the things that you've done to others in the past. You have to forgive yourself for not being your best self, your whole self throughout your life during this particular phase. The next stage is the rebirth or the transformation phase. Herein, you experience a greater deal of renewal. You start to feel better because you let go of those past desires, those hurts, those pains that were not conducive to who you actually are as a person. You begin to forgive yourself. You also understand that things happened to you in the past were not your fault, even though you may have felt guilty for them beforehand because you didn't understand who you were in that particular phase of your journey. And you begin to move forward. You also may lose very close relationships that no longer fit your awakened self because now you're a new person and you can no longer deal with some of the things from your past. Oftentimes, people are unable to tolerate certain foods or even environments because the poisons and the toxicities within these particular dynamics can no longer penetrate them in the way that they did prior to this cleansing and this healing that they start to go through as they begin to wake up to their true selves, to their true purpose. In this stage, you then have to find your tribe. You have to find new environments. You start over in many instances. And it can be a beautiful thing. However, it can also be a struggle in some regards. Finally, you meet that integration phase whereby you learn to balance the spiritual insight that you gain through the awakening journey with your practical everyday life. You learn how to maintain harmony and balance in the midst of everything that's going on around you. You also learn that now you're an awakened being, but you understand that everybody else is not awakened. So you learn greater skills in how to cope with these dynamics and work your way through a world of half awakened and half asleep individuals. Also, you learn to sustain that state of heightened awareness and presence by doing day-to-day activities and routines that keep you connected to your higher self.